Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha. Taram Yat Samudrasya Himadreshaiva Dakshinam Varsham Tad Bharatam Nama Bharati Yatra Santatihi. Welcome to all for this session on Skanda Purana to chapter 33 of Kedara Khanda in the Maheshwara Khanda. In the previous chapter, we have seen the speciality of Shweta Raja, who was a devotee of Shiva, and because of his devotion, Shiva even burned the Kala Yama who came to end the life of that Shweta Raja. Such was the courtesy, such was the compassion of Shiva towards his devotees. And in this story, in the next chapter, we will going to see how simple would be the devotion towards the great Shiva. And if one has a real great devotion, Shiva would be taking care of him all the time. So here we will hear the story of a Kirata who was not really a devotee of Shiva, somehow inadvertently performed the Shiva puja on a Shivaratri day. Let us see the impact of that. The sages said, how was the name of that Kira? What was the name of that Kirata? What holy rite was performed by him? O great Brahmana, they were addressing it to Suta, Lomasha the Suta. O great Brahmana, narrate it. We are very eager. We wish to hear everything. Let it be described exactly. Excepting you, there is no one else, O foremost one among eloquent people. Hence, recount everything, O Lord of Brahmanas, to us who wish to hear. On being told thus by the noble souled Shaunaka, Lomasha narrated everything done by that Kirata, the forester, the one who lives in the forest as a hunter. Lomasha said, once there was an excessively terrible, vicious man named Chanda. He used to associate with cruel people. He was roguish and of bad conduct. He used to terrorize all living beings with a net that evil-minded one used to capture and kill fish incessantly. That wicked fellow killed different kinds of deer, beasts of prey, and porcupine as well as rhinoceros by means of arrows. Sometimes he furiously killed birds. The sinner killed Brahmanas in particular. The forester of great sins was wicked himself and was a favorite of all wicked people. The wife of that Prakasha or the Chanda was also very terrible like him. Even as he amused himself thus, many years passed by, he continued to be engaged in those sinful activities, and much time was passed. Once that sinful fellow sat on a Bilva tree at night with a bow in his hand. He wanted to kill a wild boar, and he kept awake even without winking. He had stored some water in his quiver lest he should be distressed due to hunger and thirst. It was the 14th day in the dark fortnight of the month of Magha, usually falls in January or February. He was looking in front for the animal, and unintentionally he plucked and made many bilva leaves fall down. You know that the bilva leaves are very favorite of Shiva. Sometimes, in anger, he plucked a number of bilva leaves and dropped them down. Wafted by the wind, all those leaves fell upon a linga that was at the most at the root of the Sri Vriksha or the Bilva tree. Sometimes that wicked fellow gurgled and that water fell on the Shivalinga. The leaves of the Bilva tree also fell. In such a manner, by sheer good luck and happy coincidence, the action of the forester became a worship of Shiva. With mouthful of water, the great rite of bathing was performed. With the numerous leaves of the Bilva, the great rite of worshipping too was carried out in ignorance. O Brahmana, by that evil minded Kirata, on the 14th day in the black fortnight, it is actually Amavasya night, nearing Amavasya, because it was a Krishna Paksha, black fortnight of the month of Magha, when the crescent moon was about to rise at dawn. That Kirata of evil conduct got down from the tree. Coming near the water pond, he began to catch and kill the fishes. The wife of that Kirata was known by the name Ganodari. She was vicious and she used to steal other people's wealth. She was engaged in committing sins. In the evening, she started from her house and stood outside the city gates, desirous of meeting her husband on his arrival. She was watching the road to the forest when, even after a long time, her husband did not return. The huntress began to think, all the other hunters and fowlers have returned in the evening today. The four cardinal points and the intermediate quarters have been covered with mass of darkness. Two yamas, which is basically 2 into 3, that is 6 hours in total, have gone by in the night. Has the forester then come at? Was he torn to pieces by a lion because he had coveted the mane? Was he tortured and afflicted by the poison of serpent because he was about to remove the gems and jewels from the hoods of serpents? Did he meet death on being hit and struck by the tips of curved teeth of boars? Did he fall down on the ground from the top of a tree which he climbed up because he coveted honey? Where shall I inquire? Whom shall I ask? To whom shall I go? After lamenting thus in various ways, she returned to the house. Throughout the day, nothing was eaten by her, even water was not taken in. The fowler's wife spent the whole of that night thinking about her husband. At dawn, when everything was free from impurities, that's basically darkness, the Pushkasi, that lady, went into the forest in a hurry, taking with her food for him to eat. Wandering in the forest, she saw a big river. On seeing her own husband seated on its bank, she became delighted. He placed the food on the bank and began to cross the river. On seeing her, he brought the fish caught in his net. By that time, Chanda was told by her, come quickly, take your food. I have observed fast throughout the day, and food has been brought for your sake. What has been done by you today? What was done yesterday? O dull witted one, was not anything taken in by you? O stupid fellow, you sinner, did you refrain from taking food? That couple of pure holy rites took their bath. That couple of pure holy rites took their bath in the river. When he went to the other bank for taking his food, a dog came that way. All the food was eaten by the dog. The fierce woman became infuriated and proceeded to kill the dog. Our food has been eaten by this sinful wretch. What will you eat, O dull witted one? You will have to remain hungry now. On being reproachfully told thus by her, Khanda, who had become a favorite devotee of Shiva, spoke to her, I have been gratified by the food that has been eaten by the dog. Of what avail is this perishable body bereft of long life? This ill-fated body of momentary existence is being worshipped in the world. Those who are overwhelmed by emotional attachments and go on nourishing their body are foolish ones. They should be known as sinners excluded from both the worlds. Hence, abandon false pride and unrestrained anger. Be composed by means of discrimination between good and evil. Be steady by means of the intellect based on reality, that is, through knowledge of reality. That fierce woman was extremely enlightened by the hunter then that Puskasa the hunter had carried out the rite of keeping awake on the Chaturdashi night. In view of the connection with Shivaratri, he attained that perfect knowledge which is undoubtedly produced at the time of Shivaratri. 2 yamas, that is 6 hours passed, and Amavasya started. Many Ganas deputed by Shiva, they came there. Many aerial chariots also came there near him. Those aerial chariots and the Ganas were seen by him. The Pushkasa, the Kirata, spoke to them with great devotion. From where have you come? All of you wear Rudraksha beads. Some of you are riding in aerial chariots. Some have mounted bulls. All of you resemble the crystal. All of you have the crescent moon as coronet. All of you have matted hairs. Hides are your garments. Serpents have been worn as ornaments. You are equipped with all glorious features. Your heroism is like that of Rudra. Explain specifically and exactly what is proper unto you. On being asked by that Kirata, then all the lotus eyed Parshadas, that means the attendants of Rudra, the Lord of Devas, said very humbly, Bhaganas told to Chanda, O Chanda, we have been sent by the great god Shiva. Come on, hurry up, get into the vehicle along with your wife. The worship of the linga of Shiva has been performed by you at night. As a result of that good rite, you have attained Shiva's presence. Told thus by Virabhadra, Kirata too laughingly said the following words relevant to the occasion in accordance with his own intellect. That Kirata the forester, he said, what good has been done today by me who have been a sinner, a violent tormentor, an evil minded Pushkasa interested in hunting? I have been perpetually committing sins. How can I go to heaven? How was the worship of Linga being performed by me? Let it be explained. My curiosity has been roused much. I am asking you for the exact state of affairs. Explain, O deity of great fortune, everything in due order. As the Kirata put these questions properly, Virabhadra described the Shiva rites entirely with great joy. Virabhadra said, Mahadeva, the Lord of Devas, Ishvara, the Lord of refulgent ones, Mahesha, the consort of Uma, is delighted today. O Chanda, in the month of Magha, worship of Linga was performed by you incidentally. It is the cause of the delight of Shiva. Undoubtedly, you have become sanctified today. The worship was incidentally performed on the Shivaratri night. O Chanda, the leaves of Bilva tree were by you who were on the lookout for a wild boar. The same time, they fell on the head of the linga at the bottom of the tree. Hence, you have become full of merits, O Holy Lord. Similarly, the great rite of keeping awake was performed by you on the tree. The Lord of the universe is delighted at that keeping awake. Under the pretext of watching the arrival of a wild boar, you had no sleep on the Shivaratri night, nor did your wife sleep. The noble souled Lord, the most excellent one among Devas, is delighted on account of that fast and keeping the vigil. In order to please you, the Lord of great magnanimity, the bestower of boons, granted you all festivities. On being told thus by the intelligent Virabhadra, the Pushkasa got into excellent aerial chariot, even as the Ganas, Devas, and all living beings were watching. Dundubi drums were sounded, berries and many musical instruments were played. The instruments like lutes, flutes, and mridangas went ahead of him. The lords of Gandharvas sang, groups of celestial damsels danced, all the groups of Vidyadharas, Siddhas, and Charanas eulogized. The Puskasa was being fanned with chauris. He was honored with various kinds of umbrellas. He was brought to Gandhamadana with great festivities and celebrations. This Chanda attained the presence of Shiva on account of that holy rite. By fasting on the Shivaratri night, he attained the greatest region, even a Kirata, and that too by means of an incidental holy rite, attained Sadashiva. What then in the case of those who have great faith in attaining Shiva, the great Atman? There is no doubt about this that those who offer flowers, etc., fruits, scents, betel leaves, and rich foodstuffs in this world to God Shiva or Rudra themselves. Everything was incidentally performed by Chanda, a Kirata who was of insignificant intellect. Still, his action was fruitful. The sages inquired, "What is the benefit? What is its purpose? By whom was it performed formerly? Wherefrom did this Vrata of Shivaratri originate? By whom was it laid down, O Holy Lord, formerly?" When the Lomasha then replied to them, "When the entire universe was created by Brahma the Parameshti, the wheel of time also was evolved formerly along with the zodiacs. There are 12 zodiacs and the main constellations are 1227 in number. For the sake of achieving objectives, the wheel of time is very fierce with these zodiacs and constellations. Accompanied by this Kala Chakra, the wheel of time, Kala sportively creates this universe. Kala creates, protects, and destroys everything from Brahma down to the blade of grass. O Brahmanas, everything is connected with Kala. Indeed, Kala is very powerful. It is the only one of its kind. There is nothing else than Kala. Hence, all these visible world are of nature of Kala. There is no doubt about it. The leader of all the leaders of the world is Kala at the outset because of Kalana. Kalana means calculation. The world are born therefrom. The creation comes next. From the creation, Laya, the smallest unit of time is born. From Lava, Kshana, the moment is born. From Kshana, Nimisha, the winking time is born. The time it takes to wink the eye, that is called as Nimisha. This occurs continuously in all living beings. 60 nimisha makes one kala. 15 days and nights make one paksha, means fortnight. Two pakshas make one masa, equivalent to a month. 12 masas make one savatsara, that is basically year. Knowledge should be acquired from experts by person desirous of knowing kala. From Pratipada, first day of the lunar fortnight, if one calculates up to full moon day, fortnight becomes complete. Purna, hence full moon day is called Purnima. The day on which the moon is complete is called Purna or Purnima. It is favorite day of Devas. The day on which the moon vanishes is called Ama by learned men. It is a great favorite of Pitrus, beginning with Agniswatas. All these 30 days have certain auspicious times. Listen to some special feature of them, O excellent Brahmanas. Among the yoga's particular division of time, there are 27 such yogas. Vyatipata among stars, Vyatipata Yoga is the famous one. Among stars, Shravana Nakshatra. Among Tithis, that is a lunar days, Amavasya Tithi, that is the new moon day, and Purnima, the full moon day, and Sankramanas, when the sun passes from one zodiac to another. These should be known as sacred ones for the rites of charitable gifts. Ashtami, the eighth day in the fortnight, is a favorite of Shambhu, and Chaturthika, the fourth day, is famous for Ganesha. The fifth day is a favorite of the king of serpents. The- One minute. The sixth day is that of the Kumara. That is Shashti is basically a favorite day for Kumara or Skanda. It should be known that the seventh day is a favorite of Sun and the ninth day is a favorite of Chandika. It should be known that the 10th day, Dashami, is the favorite of Brahma. The 11th day, Ekadashi, that is that of the Rudra. The 12th day is the favorite of Vishnu. And the 13th day, that 12th day is a Dwadashi. And the 13th day, Trayodashi, is the day of Antaka, the god of death, Yama. The 14th day, Chaturdashi, is a favorite of Shambhu. There is no doubt about it. The Chaturdashi of the dark half, which extends to the midnight, is the Tithi of the, there is a lunar day on which one should observe fast. This in every month is called as Masa Shivaratri, a Shivaratri that you perform every month. It is very excellent and is conducive to the attainment of Sayujya, an identity with Shiva. The Tithi of Shivaratri is well known as the destroyer of all sins. In this context, they cite this ancient legend. There was a certain Brahmana widow of fickle mind. He loved a certain Chandala. She became his beloved through sheer lust. A son was born to her, and the Chandala of evil mind, his name and soul were both vicious, and he was unbearable. He was excluded from all holy rites. Urged by sinful nature, he began sinful actions always. He was a gambler, an addict to liquor, a thief, and a defiler of bed of his elders. He was a vicious hunter, a veritable Chandala through his action also, always engaged in evil actions and being vicious through though he was. Once he happened to go to the temple of Shiva on the Shivaratri night. He stayed there in the presence of Shiva. By chance, he heard the scriptural texts of the cult of Shiva from those quarters. Now and then he happened to visit Shiva in the form of Linga that was self born. Though he was a wicked fellow, he attained a meritorious birth due to the holy rite of staying in the presence of Shiva and keeping awake on the Shivaratri night. He enjoyed pleasures in the meritorious world and spent there many years. Ultimately, he became the son of Chitrangada with all the characteristics of a great king. He was known by the name Vichitravirya. He was very handsome and was fond of beautiful women. After attaining the vast kingdom, he became a very great supporter of all. Practicing devotional services unto Shiva, he became engaged in holy rites of the Shiva cult. He was desirous of performing the worship of Shiva in accordance with the scriptural texts of the Shaiva cult. He scrupulously performed the rite of keeping vigil at night in the presence of Shiva, singing the songs of praise of the deeds of Shiva. He used to shed tears of joy frequently from his eyes. He used to experience a thrill of rapture. The whole life passed away there thus when he devoted his attention to the meditation of Shiva. Indeed, Shiva is easy to access to brutes as well as the wise and the learned. In order to serve and for the sake of obtaining happiness, the only deity is Sadashiva. By observing fast on the Shivaratri, he obtained excellent knowledge. Everything is acquired, including equality with all living beings through knowledge. After realizing Sadashiva alone, the immanent soul of all, identical with all, he obtained liberation. Without Shiva, there is no object here or elsewhere. Thus, one obtains the rare knowledge of the Lord, unconnected with the terrestrial worlds. After obtaining the spiritual knowledge, the king became a beloved devotee of Shiva. He attained the liberation in the form of Sayujya by observing fast on Shivaratri night. What had been obtained by him formerly has been told by me. Being bereaved of the daughter of Daksha, the furious Lord Shiva struck his extensive mass of matted hair on the ground. At that time, the deity, well known as Veerabhadra, the destroyer of Daksha Yagna, was born from the forehead of Shiva, the supreme Atman. Many have been redeemed formerly through the holy rite of Shivaratri. They achieved Siddhi formerly, O Brahmanas. The souls beginning with Bharata achieved Siddhi. Mandhata, Dundumari, Harishchandra, and other kings achieved Siddhi through this holy rite alone. Thereafter, Girisha engaged himself in sports in the company of Girija on the top of King of Mountains. The Supreme Lord Paresha, in company of Bhavani, played the game of dice earnestly. Thus ended chapter 33 of Kedar Khanda in Maheshwara Khanda of Skanda Purana, in which we have seen how simple it was to achieve or to reach out to Shiva through a simple devotion, even if it is done inadvertently. A simple innocence is the most important aspect of the devotion towards Shiva. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmir Puravasini, Twamaham Prarthage Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.